Something just happened between Donald Trump and Narendra Modi, and it has left the world stunned. For years, tensions and disagreements seemed to push the United States and India into rough waters. Yet today, a shocking turn of events is making headlines. What Trump and Modi just did could change everything, not only for their two nations, but for the balance of global power. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is more than politics. It's a lesson in leadership, in turning conflict into opportunity, and in the power of decisions that ripple across the entire world. For decades, U.S.-India relations have been described as complex. Two democracies, two giants of influence. One, the world's largest democracy, India. The other, the most powerful economy and military force, the United States. And yet, as often happens in politics, the friendship was sometimes strained by trade disputes, tariffs, defense agreements, and shifting global alliances. Donald Trump, during his presidency and even after, has always been a figure who sparks controversy. Bold, blunt, and unapologetically direct. Narendra Modi, on the other hand, is seen as a master strategist, someone who combines tradition with a vision for India's rise as a modern power. At first glance, they are very different personalities, but sometimes opposites find common ground in ways the world doesn't expect. Recently, the two leaders made a move that shocked political analysts. After months of friction, public statements that hinted at rivalry, and media speculation of widening gaps, Trump and Modi stepped forward with an action that signals something bigger, something the world must pay attention to. Because here's the truth. Whenever leaders of such magnitude adjust their stance, it isn't just about the nations they represent. It's about the global chessboard, economics, security, technology, and influence. And this particular move may open doors no one thought possible. Let's go back for a moment. The U.S. and India have had long-standing disputes over tariffs. American companies argued that India's policies were unfair. India countered that the U.S. was trying to dominate global trade rules. At one point, Trump even referred to India as the tariff king. The rhetoric was sharp, and the conflict was real. For the average person, these might sound like just trade negotiations, but behind them were billions of dollars, millions of jobs, and a question: could these two nations truly trust each other? And then came the turning point. Instead of letting the hostility escalate, both Trump and Modi shifted their tone. What followed was an agreement, not necessarily a complete solution, but a handshake of intent, a recognition that cooperation was more powerful than conflict. It was a dramatic shift from tension to collaboration. Now, why is this so important? Because in leadership, whether in politics, business, or personal life, there comes a moment when you must decide. Will I keep fighting and risk destroying the bridge, or will I pause, reevaluate, and find a way forward? Trump and Modi's step is a reminder that even at the highest level, leaders must sometimes swallow pride, adjust, and think about the bigger picture. And isn't that a lesson for all of us? Think about your own life. How many times do conflicts, at work, in family, or within yourself, drag you down? How often do pride and ego stand in the way of resolution? True leadership is not about winning every argument. It's about knowing when to change the game. Political analysts are saying that this moment may redefine U.S.-India relations for the next decade. Why? Because together, these two nations can influence global supply chains, security alliances, and even the balance of power with China. Both Trump and Modi know this, and by choosing to step toward dialogue rather than deepen the divide, they're sending a powerful message. Unity can be more strategic than rivalry. But let's step back from the headlines for a moment. There's a deeper story here. Both Trump and Modi face immense pressure. Trump from the American public, deeply divided in opinion about him. Modi from India's citizens, who expect him to balance tradition with modernization. In such pressure, leaders are often tempted to prove their toughness through conflict. But the stronger leader is the one who can de-escalate without appearing weak. And here lies the motivational core of this story. Strength isn't always about confrontation. Sometimes strength is the courage to choose peace when war seems easier. Or consider history. Some of the greatest leaders, from Abraham Lincoln to Nelson Mandela, were remembered not just for their victories, but for their reconciliations. Lincoln pushed for unity after a brutal civil war. Mandela forgave those who imprisoned him, building a rainbow nation from the ashes of division. Today, whether you admire or criticize Trump and Modi, the fact remains. Stepping away from escalating conflict is a mark of leadership the world must notice. Now, imagine the ripple effect. If the U.S. and India strengthen ties, it could mean massive opportunities in technology collaboration, space exploration, and defense partnerships. American businesses could find new markets. Indian startups could find global investors. The youth of both nations could see doors open that were once locked, and all of this started with a single decision: to change the tone from confrontation to cooperation. For you, watching this right now, here's the takeaway. In life, you will face moments when the easiest choice is to keep fighting, to defend your ego, to prove you are right. But the true game changer is when you decide to build instead of destroy, to listen instead of shout, to shake hands instead of turn away. That's how new opportunities appear. That's how history shifts. Trump and Modi's move is shocking, yes, but also deeply human. It shows us that even the most powerful leaders are not above the lessons we all must learn. So, as the world watches what unfolds, let's take inspiration from it. Whether you are a student trying to overcome challenges, an entrepreneur fighting to keep your business alive, or simply someone battling personal struggles, remember this: the turning point often comes when you least expect it. And sometimes, the most powerful decision is the one where you choose unity over division. Because leadership isn't only about leading nations, it's about leading yourself. And if two of the most influential leaders in the world can find a way to move forward, despite their differences, then so can we. The world is waiting to see what this new Trump-Modi chapter will bring. Will it reshape trade? Will it strengthen democracy's global voice? Will it tilt the balance of power? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain: decisions like these are a reminder that history is not built only by wars and conflicts. It is also built by surprising moments of cooperation. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is one of those moments that we will look back on and say, everything changed that day. So ask yourself, when your moment comes, when the conflict is loud and the world expects you to fight, will you have the strength to choose a different path? That is the question leaders face. That is the question we all must answer. What Trump and Modi just did could change everything.